So let's head to the paper headlines. Mr. Fetai, I understand, is standing by. Mr. Fetai is a public affairs analyst who, helps us break down some of the headlines we see each day. So let's get to, I think we should go to the Vanguard newspaper. Mr. Fetai, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to join once again.
All right, let's get to the Vanguard newspaper. Police, Cybercrime Act emergency rule protest. So the biggest headline there, police protesters clash in Port Harcourt, Abuja. The riders, Rivers police denies firing tear gas at protesters, arresting journalists. That was a lie, so let's be clear on that. Protests in Lagos, Osun, peaceful. Minister backs protest, warns against destruction of national infrastructure. Mr. Fetai.
Yes, but we know that this thing is going to happen because of what is going on, and also sometimes the way we play with words, like the emergency rule in Rivers State, where they said that they were not being removed, they are being suspended, and all of that. We will leave that to the court to decide anyway. So what we are saying is that people are feeling it, and it's not nice. It's also a call to our government to do the needful. Another side, I would have looked at it like the Take It Back movement or leaders or civil society, that it's high time as well they engage our representatives from different states, so that sometimes when a purpose of a thing is not known and abuse is inevitable, like what the police are saying, that the time is ill and people might hijack it, to destroy the infrastructure. Just like you said, as long as they gather peacefully, as long as they march peacefully, I think they should be allowed for their voice to be heard. And for the like in Abuja, when they said the senior police officer, they are gathering for their, whether police officer did whatever it is. But I think it's the right or duty of the police or armed force to protect life and property, as long as they are doing it peacefully. I think they should be allowed to hear their voices, and a government too should do the needful. They say stitches in time save 9.
Absolutely. And you just wonder if the police is working in isolation for the bad elements as well. They understand the context. If anybody should be in touch the most, it should be the security operatives with intelligence, and they're interfacing with the people. But when you have the same security operatives threatening the peace with some of the actions we saw yesterday from some of them, then it really leaves more questions than answers. And you see some pictures showing the protests in Abuja, Lagos, Rivers, and Oyo. And as Bukola said, the same government had led protests, participated in protests in times past. We'll take a look at, let's see, I'm really spoiled for choice when it comes to the headlines this morning. But let's take the Guardian newspaper, speak to some global issues as well. You see right there on the front page of the Guardian newspaper for this morning, Trump's trade war fuels recession fears, disrupts FG's 55 trillion naira fiscal plan. Oof. And you see a breakdown, or at least a pictorial representation of how that affects or is expected to affect Nigeria's economy. Nigeria got 14%. One of the African countries.
I think there's one that got 50%.
One of the African countries, instead of retaliating, said, you know what, we're suspending tariffs. And that's Emerson Nagagwa said, rather than doing retaliatory, we're even suspending tariffs altogether. And people are like, are you betraying all of us? I thought we were in this together. But Mr. Fetai, jokes aside, seeing the decisions by President Trump, and you've seen the way Canada, the new Canadian Prime Minister, is also acting towards Trump. Unlike Trudeau, he's saying, well, we have to handle ourselves with respect. What decisions are on the table for Africa? And I'll zero it down to Nigeria. I don't know what's going on with President Bola Tinubu or in his mind in Paris, but what options are available to us, Mr. Fetai?
Yeah, especially for the Africa, this high time we need to look at intra-trade options where we do more business with our brother from this part of the continent. And when we now zero it to Nigeria, sometimes when you depend on stipend, it won't allow you to think outside the box. I think this is high time that the government look at the option that will be more beneficial to the people, especially, some of these funds as well, when they come, or whatever trade they are doing, most of the money, or let me put it in quote, part of the resources ended in a private pocket. I think when there's nothing like that, I think they'll be able to, manage the little resources that we have. What I would say to conclude this part is that we should look more in intra-trade affair between Africa. It is easier for especially Nigeria to do business with other country. When I mean other country, European, the Western world, than looking at inward in Africa. Yeah. So just like other African leaders, this is the high time that AU should coordinate their trade, the movement, coordinate immigration, the security challenges, so that if what Europeans are doing, that you can do business with neighboring country, you can go, somebody in Germany can transact with somebody in Belgium and all of that without little or no restriction. I think it's high time the African leaders should do that, and especially Nigeria, to look at our resources, look at our mineral resources, look at what we can do internally to generate, especially in the area of tourism and all of that. Nigeria is a huge potential for tourism, that we know of a country that survives only on tourism, and they are not even 1/4 of the population in Lagos. I think we can do that as well. Look inward, manage the little resources that we have, and increase internally generated revenue. I think we'll be fine for that. If not, we can't continue to do the same thing and expect different results.
That's quite instructive, and it's an age-long aspect of the conversation, Mr. Ifetayo. I'm just wondering if we may need an explainer, because the first official reaction may have come from the Minister of Finance, who has said that the impact of the 14% tariff slammed on Nigeria from President Trump's Liberation Day tariffs will be negligible on the economy. But this is what we're hearing, perhaps based on expert analysis. I'm just wondering, how we can get clarity about whether or not, or the extent to which Nigeria will be impacted, particularly because the bulk of Nigeria's exports to the U.S. Is crude oil. But listen to what Blueprint is saying. Following Trump's 14% tariff on export, FG to review budget parameters, sustain oil mineral production volumes, are focused, that's the first rider, on budget adjustment, non-oil revenues by FIS customs. That's ascribed, of course, to the Minister of Finance, as I said earlier. Lack of corporate governance, bane of power sector. And that's another reaction to the situation. And that's ascribed, I believe, to Adila. But I wonder if that is the Minister of Finance. But I want you to speak on the ambiguity of the extent to which, the tariffs would affect Nigeria. Is the government just, talking high on optimism without necessarily looking at the numbers?
I think this is time. Sorry. Okay, I think this is high time that the government should lay it down, so that a layman, a market woman could understand. And I think if there's any time the masses or the Nigerians people, they need a subsidy, it should be this time. Of course, kudos to them. They need to review the budget parameter, what they have planned, because it's going to be impacted, and look at the area of goods or services that's going to be impacted as a result of the 14%. So, and see how you can ameliorate it, see how you can reduce the impact on the Nigerian people. I'm sure they've been told, and I'm sure they should look at, especially Minister of Finance and those advising Mr. President, to see these are the areas that we're going to have impact. What can we do to reduce it? What can we do to minimize it? What can we do? Of course, most of our revenue comes from oil. So if we are going to be paying so amount of money, or we are not going to get enough from this, what are the things that we need to do to put in place? Or I think they should do better than they should do better than just be saying that we are just going to review budget. Who are the people that will be impacted? Who are the people that will be affected?
Okay.
What can the people in that industry do, to go along with also that we can what we call survive this time together, because it's not going to last forever.
All right, Mr. Adeni Fetayo, the public affairs analyst, joining us to break it down for us. Of course, we know that this tariff war that has started by Trump is going to affect a lot of people, including Nigeria. To what extent is, maybe in the coming days we'll be able to determine, but it will definitely affect us because our petroleum products is primarily one of the major things we send to the U.S. besides other agricultural produce. But I must thank you, Mr. Fetayo, for coming on the program. We'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we will get to that protest that started off yesterday by Take It Back movement. It was across different states, primarily Oyo, Lagos, Rivers, Abuja, and maybe other places. We'll get to hear from what this agitation is really all about right here on the program. Join us in just a moment.